Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are back for Mahou Shoujo Madoka Magica, Season 1, Episode 5. Alright, we had Sayaka make her wish and gain her powers. We had Madoka get into a situation where she saw her friend. That was last episode, right? Where her friend, was it Hitomi? Got taken by a witch, but then she ended up getting grabbed by one as well and ended up needing to be saved. So I wonder if those at all will lead her to wanting to take the wish herself, right? Even though she wasn't going to. I do like that she was scared. I think it makes sense for a kid her age after witnessing someone's death. And it makes. I've said this like 3 different times now. I love how she was all for this, no matter how many times people said it was risky. A kid is still going to be like, no, I want to do it. But then she sees someone close to her die, and that's when reality sinks in. And I think that makes so much sense. I love that about this show, making that choice. But yeah, we also had Kyoko at the end being like, I like this territory. I want to make it mine. I'm going to go beat them up. So, we'll see what that has to do, because apparently a lot of these magical girls are in it for personal gain rather than trying to help people like Mommy was. So, yeah, we're going to start here, guys, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Excuse me, my throat decided to want to be cleared. Oh, we're going back to the wish. I like this whole shot. It's cool. Whoa. Like crazy scenery. Hmm. Kind of like pulled out her. Damn. What was it called that holds their power? There was the grief seed, and then there was the soul gem. Alright. We still don't know what her exact wish was either, huh? Which, does that mean you don't have to say it out loud? Does Cube just like read it from your mind? Or did it just cut over her saying the wish? Hey, I saw Kyoko in the opening. Okay. Hmm. Did you get in trouble with playing stupid and sleepwalking? That's how they explained it? Hmm. Interesting. A collective hallucination. It's crazy what people like, how people justify crazy shit. That's our honor student. Sayaka is really good at playing the game, and we saw that last episode too. She can just mask all her feelings. Don't get too cocky. Well, there's that. That makes sense. Flying high. Let's beat that confidence down with Kyoko coming in. Maybe. Maybe could have saved Mommy. Yeah. Yeah. Hindsight's 2020. Hmm. That was an interesting shot where Sayaka was like shadowed, but in the foreground, and Madoka was brighter in the background. Really kind of neat. She gonna go to the hospital and see. So the restoration was just for the hands. He still has to. Couldn't you have healed all of me? Hmm. Just like you told me. You did. Oh. Whoa. That's an interesting elevator. Do you have to, like... Is it like you're on this floor and you have to, like, swipe it up to the floor you want to go to, rather than, like, hitting a button to the floor you want to go to? Okay, neat. Hey, cool. Get to play a little bit? Is that his dad? Hmm. I just hope he doesn't, like, forget about Sayaka, leave her behind or something as he moves forward. And then to her, you know. I'm sure she'd still be happy that he's doing well, but it'd be a little bittersweet. Very beautiful, though. Yep. So far, it doesn't. We're definitely building up, I feel like. Whoa, he stopped playing, the violin's still going. Crazy. He must be a magical girl, too. We have Sayaka flying high. I feel like she's gonna get kicked down low by Kyoko soon. Oh, speaking of. Huh. Hmm. Akemi. Wait, what? Wait, what? Building up that mystery. Hmm. Akemi, what are you, or what did you do, or how did you do, or who did you do? Sorry, no. Nope, not that last one. All fatal flaws. I like this background track whenever it comes on. Hmm. Oh, interesting fingernail painting on the. Was that? Yeah, just on her middle finger. Hmm. I think that was her middle finger, right? Oh, Madoka is such a sweetie. They love that, like, just shots to, like, heads turning and, like, where was she even looking? Wait, what? Hmm. Damn. Takes away everything for a single hope. Hmm. Dude, I'm so hyped to learn more about this shit. What are you doing, Cube? Chilling? Mmm. Yeah. Yeah, but look at what happened to her, too, though. Hmm. Hmm. I feel a butt coming. Oh, maybe not then. Okay. Can Madoka still say see Cube, even though she's denied the contract so far? Oh. What? Damn. Yeah. So she still can see and speak to Cube. Those cars were... They're in perfect sync! It's like how their minds are in perfect sync. Whoa. Wait. Her fingy has a thingy on it too. Familiar. Okay. Will we get some interference? I'm still waiting for Kyoko. She has that same mark that's like on her belly button as on her finger as well, just like Akemi has a mark on it. So is that not just like a... I thought it was a style thing. Oh. Is that Kyoko? There she is, okay. Yeah, still gotta stop it. Familiars can become witches? Didn't know that. This chick's savage. Just letting people die so you can get your grief seeds. I wonder if Sayaka won't be able to compete, but Madoka would be if she became one. Building Madoka up to being strong. Shit. Damn. Gotta have more than that, Sayaka. Let's go. Damn. Oh. Interesting. We got a fight on our hands. Let's go, Sayaka. She just has like a 20-point staff. Oh. They touch tips? Damn. Shit. There's two Magica girls fighting. Oh, Madoka. Are you gonna try to make them stop? Cube's really pushing that shit. Another person kind of being somewhat pressured. Of course, the evil red eye. Ah, Akemi! Nice. Let's go. They did build her up. That makes sense. Duh! No! I want more! I want all of it! Give it to me right now! That was a good episode. We learned more things! So with what happened to Hitomi in going back to the beginning of the episode, the cops chalked it up to a collective hallucination. I wonder how often that happens in this world. It's really interesting because I bet there's instances where weird things happen in our world, and people just have to give it some kind of explanation, right? But in this world, you know, from the perspective we're watching, there's these witches and crazy supernatural forces and stuff like that causing these things, but the masses don't know about that, so they just get chalked up to collective hallucinations. It's really interesting to me in shows when they try to justify what's happening and how, like, if it's hidden from the normal people, how they see it. So that was pretty cool. We had the hindsight conversation of, you know, Sayaka being like, well, if I was gonna end up becoming a magical girl anyway, I wish I did it before Mommy died, because now that she did it after Mommy died, you know, I get her thought process. We have the ending here. That is it, guys, for episode 5. So, yeah, going back to what I was saying, Sayaka's conversation in that regard about the hindsight, I completely agree. I would probably come to that conclusion, or at least think that as well. It's one of those things where, like, if she would have just, like, the fact that she did it anyway, if she would have just did it sooner, maybe she could have saved mommy. But it is hard to think that way, because you can really dig yourself into a hole where you get really sad about some of this stuff if you think too hard. But it is a bummer. Uh and then we had her wish, which only fixed the hand. That was really interesting, right? Like, once again, I really wonder how the wish was worded to Kyubey. Like, why couldn't you have just healed everything about him, right? But no, like, the hands are fixed, but he still has to do physical therapy for the legs and everything. But at least he gets to play, so I guess that's something. Even if he was bound to a wheelchair, he might still be happy just because he gets to play, right? Even if his legs never did work again. Now, the kid did say, what was his name? Kamijo was the first name, right? And then in an earlier episode, I wrote down the last name. Nope. Not that episode. Kyosuke. Maybe Kamijo was the last name. Kyosuke was the first name, I think. But either way. He did say, like, oh, just like you talked about, a miracle happened, kind of thing. So, he didn't really give me the vibes that he knows, but that little seed is there, I feel like. So we'll see if anything more comes of that as we move forward with that storyline. But anyway, we had a little bit of Kyoko talking to Kyubey and mentioning that there's another magical girl in the city, obviously talking about Akemi, and then bringing up the mysteriousness from Kyubey of being like, well, how do you not know more about her? Because she must have had a contract with you. And Kyubey's like, well, she did and she didn't. It's like, well, what does that mean? You know, like, Kyubey was very vague and says she's a weird situation. So, now, is it possible? Okay, I'm gonna spitball out a theory here, and I do not think this is the case, right? But is it possible that Akemi's mom was a magical girl? Got old enough, had a kid, still had a magical girl powers, and those magical girl powers were inherited through birth to Akemi. And maybe that's why Akemi is kind of angry with Kyubey, because she didn't have the choice to become a magical girl, right? Her choice was taken away from her because of the circumstance of her birth, right? Because her mom accepted the deal, now Akemi is stuck with this deal too, and maybe inherited the contract or something through that as well, and now she's stuck being a magical girl even though all she wants to be is a normal girl, right? That could be an interesting storyline. I don't know what made me think about it in that way. It just, that was one of the first things, I was, basically my brain was like, how can you kind of have a contract but not have a contract, right? How can this situation be so vague? And I mean, we know these are magical girls, right? And girls are capable of having children. So I don't know why my brain went that route, but I guess we'll see. But it's probably something else. I can't imagine it's going to be that. I feel like that'd be a little weird to bring into the story. But this story does have its weird, deep moments as well. So maybe we do. I like the idea. It's a captivating thought, but I don't know. I can't think of anything else though. I came up with that one good theory. That's all I'm good for. I'm good for the one. No more. No, maybe when I stop and think about it, I'll come up with more ideas of how she can have a contract but not really have a contract or whatnot, or she signed it but didn't really sign it. Whatever the words were, it was very vague, right? I could probably pull it up here again. Where would that have been? It would have been after the Sayaka and violin stuff, right? Yeah, it would have been right here. So she says, oh, shoot. I think I went by it. So what's that supposed to mean? She became a magical girl after making a contract with you, right? In one sense she did, in another sense she didn't. So in one sense she did make a contract, in another sense she didn't. So I don't know. I guess I was just saying, like, in another sense she didn't make the contract, maybe someone else did, and that's maybe where I thought about the mom kind of situation. But she's in extreme irregularity. That too, like, in extreme irregularity. Like, I feel like inheriting powers through birth could be an extreme irregularity. But regardless, we'll just have to wait and see to learn more about Akemi, because it's really interesting. They definitely built up, like, I was interested in Akemi before, but I thought it was just going to be, like, you know, something, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be anything, like, too crazy. Like, I thought it was going to be something like, oh, by me becoming a magical girl, my parents died, and so now I'm stopping other people becoming magical girls so they don't lose their loved ones, you know? Like, something like that, but I feel like there's something deeper and bigger in Akemi's backstory now, so... also, the markings on their fingies is really interesting, because I noticed it on her. Oh. There we go. So it is middle finger. They also wear she also wears her ring on the middle finger, which is interesting. And then has the marking too, which then later on in the episode we saw Sayaka with a marking on her middle finger. So do magical girls just get like a marking on their middle finger? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But also the same kind of mark that's on her fingernail was also for Sayaka anyway, was also on her belly button. There was like a little like decoration on her belly button, and it was kind of like the same like C kind of shape. So, but anyway. I also wanted to, speaking of the scene where we were talking to Akemi and everything, it's really interesting because I know Shaft is known for these, like, the head tilts and stuff like that. Like, I'm not super, like, I've watched other reactions of, I mentioned this before, of, the other show. Shoot, Monogatari. The Monogatari series, I watched some reactions to that. And even though that wasn't really my favorite show, honestly, I wasn't the big fan of the Monogatari series. It didn't really just scratch that itch. The dialogue was too quick. I had to pay too much attention, and sometimes I'm like kind of playing games and watching anime at the same time, and there was so much dialogue I felt like I couldn't do that, and I don't know. But it had a lot of the same similarities as Madoka Magica, where we have like as characters are talking, we're cutting away to different things, cutting away to different weird angles, like sometimes just cutting away to shadows. Shadows. And so it gives me very much like I can tell it's done by the same studio. But I don't think the mangakas are the same, right? So this is like an artistic flair from the studio. So I wonder what the manga's like when these conversations are happening, right? Because we have like some of those weird moments, and I want to try to like read into them more. Like when a character says something, and then Akemi just like, you know, they're sitting at a table like across from each other, and Akemi like looks that way, you know, like and like the way it like shows it is just like weird, you know. It's just I'm imagining having a conversation with someone and they just suddenly go like this, you know, like they're just looking like somewhere else. I don't know. But I'm trying to think of like what it could mean story wise and stuff like that, or maybe it doesn't mean anything. It's just artistic flair, and that made me think like, well, is that portrayed in the manga as well? Like all these like head tilts and turnings, like do they mean something too in some of these cutaways? But I can't imagine like Shaft did it on Monogatari and in this because it's made by the same mangaka. I don't think so. I would have to look it up. I don't think they are the same mangaka. I could be wrong, but it definitely has that same flair, right? But really interesting that it's just so similar. I haven't really been able to notice when I watched a lot of anime. and I haven't really noticed another studio and been like, this is definitely the studio, right? Like, maybe I'm just not good at those kind of like, maybe other studios really do have tells where you can watch an anime and you're like, oh, this is probably done by this studio. But me, I'm not able to do that. In this case, like, I immediately was like, in the first episode, I think it was the first episode, I was like, man, this gives me Monogatari feels. And then I found out in, I think, the second or third episode that it was done by Shaft. So, yeah. Anyway, which is the same studio. Very, very interesting. So, anyway, I want to talk about that a little bit, just because I'll probably talk about it again before the show's over, because it's so funny how close it is. But we did learn from Kyoko that familiars can become witches. I feel like Mommy never mentioned that. Like, we learned that familiars are just like byproducts of witches, right? Like, witches send them out and they need to be stopped, but they don't give a seed. No one ever talked about if you let those familiars kill, they then eventually become a witch and you can harvest the seeds. So Kyoko just lets these familiars go, kill a few people, let them become a witch, kill the witch, and then take the seed. Once again, I still want to know what the benefit of the seed is, because you're expending magic power to refill your magic power, where if you just didn't expend your magic power in the first place, then you wouldn't need to let these things kill people, and I don't know. So, I feel like there's got to be more to it we just haven't learned yet. Also, during that fight, we learned that Sayaka has, like, extra healing because her wish was for healing. That's really interesting. So now I'm going to be paying attention to all these different magical girls and trying to figure out what their special trait might be. Now, I don't think it's all, like, blatantly obvious, but maybe if we start learning their traits, we'll be able to correlate that to the wishes they made, and that's really fascinating as well. Which also means that Madoka was kind of wanting to make her wish to be strong, right? But by becoming a magical girl, she already would have been strong. But because if she uses her if she uses her wish to, like, be strong, if her wish was strength based, does that mean she just becomes even stronger? You know, I don't know. It's really interesting. But I don't think with the way Kyoko has been fighting, or with Akemi, or even with Mami, I don't think I really have, like, a gauge on what their wish. Like, we know that Mami was in a car accident. Seemingly her wish might have been to save her from that car accident, but I don't know how that correlates to her powers, right? Or at least, like, an attribute of her powers. Like, obviously Sayaka's power isn't only healing, she has the sword and everything too. So just because Mommy has guns doesn't mean that her wish was, like, gun related. There might have been something else about Mommy that we just never really knew. Same with Akemi here and Kyoko. I feel like we don't know enough about them yet to be able to try to extrapolate what their wish might have been based on, we don't really know what those inherent traits are. We just see their weapon, right? Which their weapon doesn't necessarily mean, as I said. So, but really fascinating. I'm really interested in that concept, and I wonder if that really will be something about Madoka. Is her wish wanting to be strong just makes her even more strong? So, yeah. Anyways, I think that's gonna be it for me. This was a really good episode. I can't wait to see more. I want to learn more about Akemi. I want to see Kyoko get her ass beat. Although I think it does suck that once again we're gonna have another character feeling pressured into taking this power in order to save someone that they hold dear, So, well, I guess Akemi's here now. Never mind. I lied. I completely forgot about the ending of the episode where Akemi shows up so that way Madoka doesn't have to do it. Which, once again, 5 episodes in, Madoka still hasn't gotten her powers. Obviously, based on the opening and stuff and the name of the show, I imagine she's going to, and all that, but I really love how much they're, like, milking it out. Very, very cool. Also means that I feel like she's going to be pretty proficient pretty quickly when she does get her powers, because we're not going to have 12 episodes of her getting stronger. We're going to be halfway done the show by the time she gets her powers, maybe even more than halfway done, And then she's gonna have to use those powers to, I imagine, eventually work our way up to when she, whatever, like the big, what was happening in the first episode, right? Save the world from that catastrophe. So, anyways, thank you guys so much. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed. Check out my Patreon if you want to see more. 2 episodes ahead of time on there through the early access tier. Check that out. The Patreon show / rewatch tier has shows like Free Ren, Solo Leveling. For live action, there's Watchmen, Shogun, and The Expanse. And those are shows that aren't even released yet, and you can get access to on there. And for the rewatch section, I'm rewatching Attack on Titan Season 1 and 2. So check that out if you're interested in more content from me. Links in the description below should be popping up on the screen, and I will see you in my future reactions. Bye-bye.